My name is Philippa Edwards. I am one of the co-directors of Skunkworks Productions. So we have the lovely Steve Rosse here. He is the tuba player from the Sydney Symphony Orchestra, but he is so much more. When you feel anxious in a performance, what do you do?
Performance anxiety is more of a phobia. It's more of a fear. So the way to fix it is with the mindset, because we have to hack this ridiculous thing that's going on in the mind, because there's nothing dangerous to your being to go out and play your flute or your clarinet or your tuba. Hello everyone, and welcome to my Mindset for Creatives podcast series. Today's episode is the first in a series on how to eliminate or at least reduce nervousness and anxiety while taking auditions, doing competitions, or just performing. This 10-minute presentation was part of a group coaching session to over 80 participants that recently took place live online and was presented by Skunkworks Productions. I'd like to thank Philippa and Colin for organizing this event in partnership with the Victorian Bands League, the Band Association of New South Wales in collaboration with Creative New South Wales, and sponsored by Windcraft, Fine Music, Hal Leonard, Yamaha, Besson, and Geneva. Please visit the Skunkworks Media YouTube channel link below, where you will find the full 90-minute version of this session, along with other informative masterclass videos. If you would like a PDF of key mindset tips that accompany this discussion, please access this via the link below. Thank you for listening. This is Mindset for Creatives. Performance anxiety is more of a phobia. It's more of a fear. And what a phobia is something that you're afraid of, but it's not going to hurt you. For example, people might have arachnophobia. That means they're afraid of spiders. So being afraid of poisonous spiders is fine. But a spider that is completely harmless and you see that spider or a mouse and you totally freak out, that's a phobia. People have all kinds of phobias. And we all have performance and competition phobia, but to different degrees. So some people manage it quite well, and some people get panic attacks and they'll have a bad experience and they'll never want to do it again. And so if you're in this group, I'm here to help you. Now, I'm going to explain to you that this phobia we have for performance is linked to the same part of the brain that will give you panic fright for survival. It's what is fight, flight, or freeze. So our primitive ancestors all had this. They survived because they had this mechanism in the brain, fight, flight, or freeze, and they survived, and here we are. We have this, but we don't need this like they did. We're not living out in the jungles. We're not living with saber-toothed tigers and other people across the hill who are warriors are going to come and kill us. But our primal ancestors had to deal with this. So this part of the brain, fight, flight, or freeze, is with us. And there's a part of the brain that doesn't really know exactly what is dangerous for our existence and what is completely safe. So just to be sure, it covers too much. So you go with your clarinet or your flute to do your competition at nationals or states, and the screen is there, and you hear the judge going, and you hear that bell ring. So those of you who are listening to this, if you've experienced that, you can ask yourself, is it shortness of breath? Is it a heart rate that goes very fast? Is it the mouth drying up? Is it shaking? Sweaty palms? You want to freeze or run away. We can't fight and we can't run away, so we freeze. That's what happens. So what I teach my students from the musical perspective and my coaching clients on the coaching perspective is to remember that there's one thing that we can control, and that is what we think, what we say to ourselves. And this is where I want to really define what mindset coaching is. Mindset coaching is thinking of the mind as it's a muscle, and we exercise it and we control it to do what we want. So if you went to the gym and you did an aerobics class, you're looking at the teacher says, okay, you got these light weights, you do this, your muscles, you are controlling your muscles to do exactly what the teacher is telling you to do. And when you're on your own, you know what to do. So the mind is the same way. So I teach my students and my clients to think a certain way. Now, this is how mindset works. You talk to yourself in a certain way that will lead to the desired conversations in your head, which will then lead to behaviors. And now these behaviors will include stopping to shake, getting a wet mouth, slowing your heart down, just by what you're saying in your mind. Self-talk will result in behaviors, which will eventuate into desired results. So that's how mindset works. So how do you do it when you're a performer? What I would like you to do as an exercise right now is ask yourself, has there ever been a time that you've performed or competed or did anything where people are watching you or listening to you that you didn't get nervous, even if it was just once? And if that's never happened, think of the time where it happened the least. What you want to do is remember that you have that in you, and you just need to call that up again and get rid of all those negative sort of thoughts that happened since then, because negative thoughts will become a habit, just like a negative action. Our mind gets addicted of a thought that goes over and over and over. So you need to change your mindset addiction to something positive. So think, for those of you who have done a performance or an audition or a competition where, yeah, I was fine or it was great, I want you to just remember that and just picture yourself back there in that situation. And I want you to really focus on what you saw, what you heard, and what you felt. Then you go into that situation, go into yourself in the past, see it, hear it, feel it. So when I'm coaching people with performance phobias or anxieties, this is a whole session, one-on-one. So I'm trying to give you an idea of how you can do this yourself. Now, there's another technique, and this is also an NLP technique, and it's an NLP form of modeling. And what you need to do then is you need to think of a mentor, somebody who plays your instrument really well with confidence, even if you don't know them, and it's YouTube. Imagine yourself being them. And so what you need to do is watch those videos over and over and over, and go to a quiet place, like sitting in front of your computer, like I am now. So you watch them and you hear them. And then you close your eyes when it's done, and you just take yourself into a little bit of a meditation journey, and you watch them again, but they're in your mind. So you don't have to use the computer screen to watch them, or on your phone, however you're watching them. And when you get used to watching them, really observe and imagine not only what they're doing, but what are they thinking? How are they feeling? What are they seeing? What are they hearing? And you do this over and over. And then when you're ready, in a meditative state of mind, you project yourself into them and you become them. And you play that piece as them. And you see what they see. You hear what they hear, and you feel what you feel. You feel what they feel, which is now you. See, it's working. And then you rehearse that over and over and over. Then in the privacy of your own room with no one listening, do that with your instrument. Just say, I'm James Morrison. Do you think James Morrison's ever been nervous? I don't know. I'm going to guess not. So he's one of my mentors. I'm going to be James Morrison. I'm going to pick up my tuba, and I'm probably not going to sound as good as him, but I am going to play with that ease, chest proud, good posture, confident air, owning the room. Picture myself in wherever he's playing, Salvation Army Hall, Sydney Opera House, doesn't matter. And I'm going to rehearse this over and over and over. And what comes out of the instrument at that point doesn't matter. What matters is training the mind. Remember, the mind is a muscle. So we need to exercise it. And we need to call upon the mind to think the thoughts that we are programming our mind to think. So those are two exercises that you can try yourself. So if any of you have ever experienced nerves or performance anxiety, it's normal. So the way to fix it is with the mindset, because we have to hack this ridiculous thing that's going on in the mind, because there's nothing dangerous to your being to go out and play your flute or your clarinet or your tuba and miss a note or have a memory slip. You'll be alive. You'll be absolutely fine. So this is where this mind coaching comes in. Again, as a quick review on this component before we move on, the first is go back to a time in a place yourself that you were on it here, and watch yourself from above as you're imagining it, traveling in time, and then relive that experience. What are you seeing? What are you hearing? What are you feeling? Write it down. Create a little mantra, a little thing for you to recite, like affirmations before you're performing. Like, yeah, I'm feeling warm, I'm feeling confident, I'm feeling grounded, I see bright colors, I hear amazing music, and I'm doing it. If you haven't experienced that, do the modeling. All right? Are there any questions at this point?
And I suppose the beauty of this for us is a lot of the mindset coaches don't come from a music background. So you are very aware of the different things that we have to deal with, whether it actually is what you wear, where you go, auditioning, preparing for concerts, all the different things. So thank you, Steve.
Thank you, everyone, for listening to episode number 4 of my Mindset for Creatives podcast series. If you would like a PDF of the key mindset tips that accompany this discussion, please access this PDF via the link below. If you are not already a member of my Mindset for Creatives email community, you may become a member by clicking the link below. And finally, I would like to again thank Philippa and Colin for inviting me to give this mindset coaching session for Skunkworks production. Thank you for listening. This is Mindset for Creatives.